This one just was like, oh, goddamn. Chadwick Boseman.
Unfucking-real, dude.
Unfucking real. Is that in there?
That's my number 3.
Oh, wow.
No, for real, look. Chadwick.
Yeah.
How about it, man?
Yeah. Oh, look how happy we are. But yeah.
Let's get dumb and have some fun. Let's get dumb and have some fun. Let's get dumb and have some fun. Get dumb and have some fun.
Welcome to Let's Get Dumb, the podcast where I, comedian Joe Kilgallon, and comedian Jonah Jurkens like to ask dumb questions, tell dumb stories, make dumb lists, and just have a dumb old time with you. Jonah, how are you?
I'm good.
You good, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
Feel great?
How are
Is that
you doing?
Brand new hat?
Maybe?
I didn't notice you were wearing a Yankees hat earlier.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Totally okay. It's
Yeah.
fine. I don't like...
As long as it's not White Sox, I feel.
Yeah, White Sox is my main fuck you. If you started rocking a Cardinal hat, I'd be very disappointed.
That was my
too.
next question.
Yeah, because you're a Brewers fan, so you should hate the Cardinals almost as much as you hate the Cubs or more sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the last time the Brewers were in a World Series was 1982, and they lost to the Cardinals back when the Brew Crew were in the American League. But I only bring up
You
the
just
Yankees.
had that in there?
Yeah, I do. My brain is 95% baseball.
Yeah.
That's why I have a lot of mental health problems. I can't keep relationships because I just keep thinking, how
just
do you
keep
not
thinking-
know what a balk is? Are you a moron? You know,
Really?
stuff like- I've had that before. Yeah.
Did you really go, are you a fucking moron for not knowing what a balk is?
In my brain, sometimes
Really?
people don't know things. And then I
Yeah.
have to step back and realize not everyone's like you, Joe.
Right.
You know? No, what I was going to say was that I normally would have just instinctually give you a little bit of a hard time for bouncing around teams because
I do bounce around, yeah.
You wear a Cubs hat. You've lived in Chicago for quite a long time, more of your adult life than Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But Milwaukee's home. You're raised there. So the Brewers Cubs thing, I go, all right, I get that.
Yeah.
Yankees feels like you might be just like, this is just a cool hat. I want to be a cool guy.
That's exactly what it is.
Fair.
Yeah. It was definitely, I think I saw it on an ad, speaking of ads, from a couple weeks ago, and it like a black guy was wearing it. I was like, oh, I'm fucking getting that.
Right back to that clip we had, bro.
Uh-huh.
How'd that clip do? I can't remember. Do people agree with
It didn't go
Jonah
that well.
mostly?
They did horrible. But
Yeah.
people agreed.
I think because I kept saying black guy over and over again. I don't think that's going to go well with this up. You right?
That's fine.
Oh, I'll keep.
keep talking.
No, keep
Just
talking.
don't
I always
dead
get
air,
nervous.
please.
I always get nervous when this happens. Is there any? So
I only had it out. I did the stupid thing again where I wrote my list down on my notes app, and I know Cole Cabana famously pointed that out as not a thing to do.
Oh, it's
But
okay if you look
it's
at it.
okay. It's only 5.
if it's for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, what's our list today?
Our list today, everyone, just to get you pumped up, we are doing top 5 celebrity deaths that hit us the hardest. The ones that really just, celebrity deaths are always interesting because you don't know them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you know them, that's different, of course, because that's just losing a friend. You don't
Yeah.
consider them a celebrity at that point, I suppose, or maybe you do, whatever. But, it's something that people talk a lot about. Now, the actor George Wendt, who played Norm famously on Cheers, one of the longest running sitcoms, the most popular sitcoms of all time, passed away about a week or so ago. And, a lot of people were like, oh, it's crazy. Norm's dead. Such a loving memory. And they don't know him.
No.
Right? But they just associate him with such a great time in your life. And
Yeah.
that's where celebrity deaths are a little bit like, what the hell?
Do you remember who's the first celebrity you remember passing away that of note?
Oh, God. I'm afraid to say because he's on my list.
Oh, then you
I don't wanna
don't say it.
tease.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
I'll just say
wanna-
mine because mine surprisingly should be actually on the list, but isn't. But Tupac, Tupac was the first time I was like, oh yeah, I was like, whoa, somebody passed away, or someone's dead, and then also he seems so old because I was in middle school, right?
yeah.
And it's weird that I think he's only 27 when he passed away,
Yeah.
and not even 25 maybe, and
I just remember mine or one of them.
Okay.
But go ahead. I'll keep going. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, no,
That's why I react with my face.
You know what's interesting about that? I was like, I was so sad about it as a kid because I was just getting into rap and I was just getting in. I don't know why isn't he on my fucking list? And
You're talking him into your list.
I
now.
know, I think
Yeah.
I am.
Honorable mention.
yeah, we can change our list before we say it. To the point that we also got a cat, and I was like, what should we name our cat? And my mom was like, name him Tupac, and I had a cat named Tupac.
Oh, your mom was cool.
All for that reason, which is crazy.
My dad went to Vegas right around the same time of the whole Tupac Biggie thing.
Really?
And stuff. Yeah. And it was funny because when he came back, we were like, how was Vegas? He's like, it wasn't bad, but one time I got out of the casino to get a little air, and these guys were like, hey, you look tough. You want to come in the car with us? And he's like, what for? He's like, we're going to get 6-pack. And he's like, malt liquor? I'm in. And then he basically told this story that he was in the car when they killed Tupac.
Oh,
but
right.
but it was a lie, obviously.
Yeah.
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 You were looking at me like, is this for real?
I was like, oh my god.
Well, I was like 10, so it was a hilarious story to me as a 10-year-old
Yeah.
that my dad's trying to pretend like he knows anything about rap or hip hop or whatever,
Right.
But he was there apparently. He knows what happened.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that.
And then they opened fire. I'm like, what did this poor bastard do? I thought we were getting beer.
And you're like, what? I
we
thought you were
said
gonna tell me
Tupac.
that he's just like, no, man, I'm okay, and he's like, those were the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
and we were
knew.
like, whoa.
You ever have that moment where you play it cool in the moment, but then when they leave, you're like, oh my God, I know who that is. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I had that with Mariska Hargitay from Law and Order SVU.
Really?
Yeah, when I my first night living in Los Angeles, I just moved there, unpacked all day, exhausted.
Yeah.
And just go grab a bite to eat, and getting back to the car, this woman goes, "Oh, are you guys leaving?" I'm like, "Yeah, spot's all yours." "Oh, thank you so much." It was Mariska Hargitay.
Whoa.
And what was crazy was in the burger place, they had like a game on before, and then that game was over, and then Law and Order SVU was on.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember in that moment, I didn't say it out loud, but I thought in my head, I'm like, no matter where you go in this country, Law and Order SVU is easily accessible.
Yeah, very.
And then a minute and a half later,
There she is.
there she is.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, and then I never had another cool moment like that again.
yeah. You're like,
for
I'm
3.5
in the
years.
money. I'm in the big time.
Show business.
Who's?
They eat burgers like us. They're just like
Oh
us.
my God, they're just like
They
us.
go to overrated burger chains.
Did you? Is there a celebrity you've been the most nervous around?
Oh man. I had this example for someone once. Yeah, this goes back to baseball. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
asking this. I've only had one moment. I was talking about this on at the annual comedian softball game because someone brought him up. I was backstage. I was the opening comedian for Ryan Dempster, who used to play for the Cubs,
Yeah.
all-star pitcher. He did this fun thing called Off the Mound where he interviewed like athletes, but he did in the style of like a David Letterman, like a Tonight Show. I went up, warmed him up, and then a band came out and introduced him, and then he did like a monologue thing, and then they did an interview. Anyway, it was a really great idea. I did it a couple times. I wish it would have become more of a thing. Theo Epstein was going to make a surprise appearance. This was the president and GM of the Red Sox and the Cubs when they both broke their curses.
Okay.
See, you might not know, but anyone who knows sports pretty well knows Theo Epstein as a name. Although poor bastard with the Epstein stuff, that really hurt his last name, I'm
Right.
sure. So I saw him backstage, and I was like as close as you are. He was looking in one direction, waiting to pop on, and I just put my phone away, and I was just backstage watching, and I remember being like, "Oh my God, it's Theo Epstein. Fuck, I should say something. God, what do I say? Do I say thank you? But that feels weird. I want to play it cool. Do I say, hey man, I'm I was the comedian, big fan of what you do. Like, how do I do it?" And
Yeah.
I froze.
Really?
And I was just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
That was the only time. And thankfully I've met a lot of really big celebrities where I've just played it cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you afterwards when you walked away? Did you replay all the things you should have said?
Oh yeah.
What did you come up with like what your opening line should have been?
I was just gonna be like, hey Theo, what's up, man? Joe Kilgallon. I was the opening comedian. Just want to say big fan of yours, man. And then I was gonna tell him about, I hope you don't get mad at him, but Dem told me this really hilarious story of your first night in Chicago after you signed with the Cubs. You guys went out celebrating.
Yeah.
So I can't reveal what that is on the air, I'm sorry.
No,
but
right.
I thought if I did that like in a chummy, fun way,
Yeah.
he would have been like,
Like, oh, I know
hell
something.
yeah.
I got something
Oh, hell
on
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out later. Let's
Yeah.
go have fun.
Yeah.
Like he would think I'd be fun to party with too.
Oh,
Because
right?
I
How
would have then
fucking
told him,
sweet.
because the story I was told, I'm like, oh, I got a similar story. And I remember when I heard, you ever hear a story about a third party that you don't know, but based off the information you got, you're like, oh, I'd hit it off.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, I love it. I always get nervous when I meet that person though. Like a lot of times if a friend is saying like, oh my God, my friend did that, like, oh man, you guys would get along, and then you get like really nervous. And then it feels like it's like a weird first date almost, even though like maybe you're the only one that feels like that,
Oh, they definitely don't, unless they've been hearing the stories about you.
Right. You never
Could
know.
be. So
Yeah.
maybe they're just as nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have had that. That's why I was reacting a little bit. I've definitely been nervous about meeting someone that you've heard so much about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had. I can't think of an example, but I know I've had that feeling.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's that funny Sarah Silverman clip from Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, where like that guy who gets decimated by Jamie Foxx on that is like a famous clip from like 20 years ago, where it's like, I am your conscience. Do you remember that? The guy, like, he's trying to rip on everybody, and then Jamie Foxx is like, dude, you got to stop.
Yeah.
And I guess like Sarah Silverman like watch that all the time whenever she's like feeling sad or whatever, and she runs into that guy, but she doesn't remember. She's like, oh, I know this guy. And then she's like, oh, hey, what's up? And then it clicks, and then she realizes how sad it is, and then she goes, oh, hi. Like that move where you're like, when it finally clicks, who that person is.
Yeah,
That's-
dude. I don't think he'll mind us, and we should have him on the podcast. But no, I know I'm trying to think of that source, what guy she's talking about. But a comedian friend of ours, Brian Kiefer,
Yeah.
he's got a new bit that's similar to this, but really funny. I hope he doesn't mind me almost butchering his joke, but he's very funny. We should have him on the pod. He was at a bar in Chicago, because I was talking to him about this recently, because someone who works at that bar said, hey, love the joke, but could you not mention our bar?
Oh.
And because blah, 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 you know, we don't want to get, anyway. So he goes to this bar and he's sitting there with his girlfriend. He looks across, he's like, I know this guy from somewhere. I know this guy from somewhere. Where the fuck do I know this guy from? Turns out he was on episode 1 of To Catch a Predator.
Shut up.
Yeah, and he got it fact checked. The bartenders were like, "That's him," because someone else thought he looked very familiar, and they were like, "Well, he pays with a credit card all the time, so let's find out." That's another reason why they're like, "Let's not get the name of the bar out there."
Yeah.
And then they Googled and all that, and I guess he goes in there all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
the
What would you
joke's
do?
Hilarious. Well, I don't know, but I don't want to tell. I can't remember the rest of the joke, but I know it's really funny because he plays it where it's like the idea being. Like he buys him a shot, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know, maybe he was in misunderstanding. Like he's on that guy's
Yeah, I mean, he's
side.
like a cool guy.
Yeah,
you know.
he's a cool pedo or whatever, you know. What would I do in that situation? Damn, dude. What would you do? Know what you would do? I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Freak out.
In my brain, I think I'd want to fuck with him somehow, but I would.
Yeah.
I probably just keep him. I don't want to talk to that guy. I'm gonna.
Yeah, because there's certain people. There's like, you know, people talk about this a lot where it's like, why didn't anyone do anything? And I'm like, well, there's some situations where it's like, yeah, if it's in the process, if I'm at that bar and he walks in holding hands with a 12-year-old, then I'm gonna fucking do some shit.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna find the other end of a bottle in his side.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
but
shit.
yeah, hell yeah, man. And if you're witnessing something like that with
Yeah.
a child, nah, I don't play with that. But it's one of those things where it's like he was on this show 20 years ago. Still bad.
Still
not
bad.
sticking up for it at all. But you're in your brain, you're like, God, I kind of want to be like, what's wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
But then what if he comes back at you so hard and then it becomes this weird thing and now
Yeah.
you're just getting roped into something where you're like, God, if I didn't look that direction, I don't know who he was anyway.
Yeah.
I should just buy him out. You know, it's weird.
Yeah. There was I dated this girl for a while. I was in college, and then her and I's favorite thing is we would look at all the registered people in the neighborhood because you'd see
I've
everyone's.
never done that.
Oh, it's great because like some of the stuff they're wearing in those pictures are just like, come on, man. There was one where a guy was wearing a Mickey Mouse T-shirt
Oh, Jesus.
in it, and I was like, what are we doing here? You know. But the thing is what's weird is because you're looking at that picture so much, you recognize them in your neighborhood, and that's always hard. Where you're like,
man.
oh, like it's just like everyone's coming. This is insane.
Everyone's coming was a bad choice of words.
I know.
Probably, right?
I know. I'm
Yeah.
not coming. Too old. That sucks.
Yeah. But like I was thinking about when people say something like, if I would have saw O.J. Simpson, like what would you do now?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like O.J.'s dead now. That was the celebrity death that hit me the hardest. Oh, spoiler. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like what would you have done? Like if you saw O.J.,
Right.
you know, but when he was alive, of course, but you're just like, well, what do you do? You probably would have been like, I kind of want to get like a picture and be like, look who I
Right.
saw, make a funny like
Yeah.
Instagram post off of it. But you're not going to go up and fucking talk to him.
No.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I still remember that was a huge revelation for me, was when I found out that O.J. Simpson wasn't just a comedic actor.
Because you know him from Naked Gun?
I knew from Naked Gun because I watched. Because
So
right at
good-
that
he's
age
so
where
good in
I'm
that.
young enough where I know him from that, and then I remember the whole Bronco chase, and I'm like, with the actor, and then I find out football player. I'm like, was he? So I have no respect for him as a football player. Well, I don't have respect for him as a person, but like I just have more respect for him as he's pretty funny in those movies.
Dude, he's so good in the Naked Gun
Mm-hmm.
movies. But it's funny, like a guy like O.J. Simpson, where it's like not comedian, athlete, actor. I think he wrote a book, author,
The
double
book is-
homicide murderer, probably. Like, you know, where do you
Probably.
put that in the commas?
Do you know what the
with
book is
slashes?
called?
Oh yeah, if I were to have done it, how I would have done it, or something,
Something like that.
That's the thesis of the book. I don't know if that's the exact title.
It's
but-
like it's like
Producer Austin. Sorry, can you find that out?
it's like I think it's called I Did It, but then there's if and then I did it and it goes, this is how I would do it. And it's amazing that he was just like, yeah, it goes fuck.
Like,
Like
funny if it was like I did that, you know, the next thing, and it's like stole the cookie from the cookie jar, or something goofy as hell, you know.
yeah, right.
Yeah, the book is called If I Did It, Confessions of a Killer. But in the title, it says I did it, and the if is like in the eye.
Yeah.
Shut up. Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought you were making that up
No,
for a joke.
I know. I don't
Oh
know.
my God.
Real, like it,
I thought I'm like, Jonah's being really clever right now. I
me
like
zoom
when
Oh,
in.
I
this-
wish. You think I'm that clever?
yeah,
God,
it's,
no.
It's like, so the picture I'll pull up on this, if this is a clip, is it's a white book with a red blood shoe.
Yeah.
And it says I did it in huge black letters, and then really small at the top of the eye in red letters is if.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says Confessions of a Killer. Yeah.
Do you know how many copies that book sold?
A shit ton when it first came out. A lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
believe
crazy.
that.
Did you watch the
Good gag
Netflix
gift.
documentary?
I did not. The
Oh
only
my
documentary
God.
about OJ I ever saw was the 30 for 30.
Which is great.
Yeah,
like
it
the
is.
4-parter or whatever.
Yeah.
That's so good. I think that's better because you get the whole like backstory to OJ, but like this is mainly just trial. And then his agent claims that like when he got acquitted, he like came back and they were kind of drinking. They're kind of sitting down, and then he's just like, "Hey man," his agent is like, "OJ, you gotta tell me like what happened." He's, "I don't think you did it, but what happened?" And then I guess OJ says, "I just wish she didn't answer the door with that knife in her hand." Right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So he's feeling threatened, and then he just goes in a blind rage and just kills everybody. Isn't that crazy?
You think CTE is what made him crazy, or was he just always one of those screw loose guys?
I think it's both. I
I
think
don't
it's.
think he did it.
Shut up. Are you serious?
I'm just trying to protect the podcast here. It's allegedly.
Allegedly.
They were
Do you
Allegedly.
think OJ's estate is going to come after us?
Why don't what's crazy too is that
I think they need money.
who is the second victim? Ron Goldman.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Every time I say Ron Goldman, I go, that doesn't sound like a victim's name. Do you know what I mean? Ron Goldman sounds like the arresting police officer.
Yeah, or Ron Goldman sounds like the person who dumped a lot of toxic waste while he was the CEO of a company. Or
Right.
What I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like
agree.
he got caught for like tax embezzlement or something.
Now, Cato
Tax embezzlement.
Kalin
That sounds like a victim.
sounds like a victim.
That sounds like a fucking victim.
Why would you report Cato?
Right.
What did Cato do?
And
You
also
know?
the whole thing about like how he's sitting there and then like the thing's happening against the wall and like the window kind of comes off and he goes, was there an earthquake? And then he was like asking people, like the cops were on the knocked on the door the next day, and I guess he was like, was there like an earthquake or something last night? And he goes, they're like, no, 2 people were murdered like right here. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, all right, cool,
Yeah.
so good.
For those of you who don't know, Cato Kalin was like a house guest, but apparently a house guest for like a huge, like a lot of celebrities had him as a house guest for some weird reason, like leading up to that OJ thing. Now I just know him as a guy. What he does on Twitter? He just complains about the Milwaukee Brewers.
Really?
He's a huge Brewers fan.
Oh, really?
Huge Brewers fan.
Oh,
Even
nice.
when they're winning, he's mad about something.
Oh, I gotta follow him.
That was like the thing that kept me on Twitter for a while. Actually.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on podcast, but the most nervous I've ever been around somebody was Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah,
Because
I
was the biggest Dennis Rodman fan. He was at this local liquor store called Binny's here in Chicago, and he was like, they also sell cigars, and he was in there getting cigars. Why'd you laugh
Just
at
the
that?
fact he's at a Benny's and he could
No,
easily
Benny's-
afford someone to go to Benny's. For
No,
I
I don't
was
think-
doing a meet and greet, right?
No, he was just hanging out.
Oh, just hanging
He was
out.
buying cigars.
He's just in the
Oh.
aisles.
He was like buying cigars, and then I was getting
They
wrung
get
out.
celebrities that come in and do stuff at Binny's all the time.
Yeah.
but
William
like,
H. Macy was there like a few weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, and then
Oh.
Tom Segura and what's his name?
Oh, yeah, I saw
right.
that,
They were
yeah.
doing something.
Yeah.
Too.
They were in Wrigley.
Yeah, William H. Macy was doing Binny's commercials. For
Oh, that's
Minute.
awesome.
That sucks.
Because he
I
filmed
would've-
Shameless here, so he's like, I'm here.
Oh, that makes sense.
'Cause I think Binny's is mostly Chicagoland, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then I like the girl is ringing me out, and I look over, I go, is that Dennis Rodman? And she goes, yeah, he comes here a lot. And I was like, whoa. And then she's like, go say hi. And I go, I can't do that. And she's like, why not? I go, he's my hero. And then she goes, Dennis Rodman's your hero? And I was like, yeah, it's Dennis Rodman. It's the worm, baby.
Yeah.
And she was just like, okay, it's whatever, how much money? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I think I'd be more nervous to meet him than Michael Jordan.
Well, Michael Jordan for me, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I was a child during the first 3 P in
Yeah.
Chicago. That was amazing. So I saw Rodman get added. I knew Rodman was great, but Rodman was also a Piston, so I naturally hated him. But I knew he was
That
great.
makes sense. Yeah.
So a little different perspectives there. But I could see that Rodman was very inspirational.
Yeah.
I don't think, if you're Gen Z, you have no idea what this guy was. The NBA in the 90s, and people could argue back and forth about the quality of the NBA, but for fact was way more big men,
Yeah.
way more dominant big men.
Right.
It wasn't the 3-point shooting league like it is now. So, and Rodman was a guy that was like 6'6".
Mhm.
He was listed at 6'8", but he even said like they lie on your basketball
Right.
cards. And was out rebounding dudes who had fucking 7 inches and fucking 60 pounds on him.
Right.
'Cause he wasn't like, he was ripped, but he was like skinny ripped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
So like Karl Malone, remember when they WWF or WCW?
Mhm.
They did that wrestling thing. It was Karl Malone and Diamond Dallas Page versus Hulk Hogan and
Dennis Rodman.
Rodman.
Yeah.
And you could see Malone looked just fucking
Yeah.
massive and Rodman was just skinny.
Yeah, that's crazy. And those the years when they're just like, he just needs to go to Vegas and let loose for a couple of days. They're just like, all right, and then he just plays the next day. And it's insane that he's just so athletically gifted that he didn't really play basketball until late in his
Yeah,
career.
that's true.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but like, yeah, he's just like, I don't know. I just like loved him so much. and I was so fucking nervous. I was like shaking. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even want to walk past him. I was so nervous. That kind of happened to me a couple days ago. I was walking in my neighborhood, and I see this guy walking up past me, and then I'm like, why the fuck do I know this guy? And I'm like, it's Diggy Moreland from The Bachelor. And from The Bachelorette, it was
Tell
just
the
like
listeners that you used to do a podcast.
I used to do a podcast about
they
The
know.
Bachelor, right? But Joe, he it's a GIF I send all the time because I love sending GIFs, and he has my favorite eye roll I've ever seen in my life, where he like goes to like handshake somebody, and the second the guy walks away, he goes like, and he like eye rolls where his eyes almost go to the back of his head, his mouth drops, and I send that. I literally sent it 20 minutes previous. And we passed, and I was like, I almost was like I was gonna say something, but I was so nervous because I was like, oh my God, I see you almost every day. Like he's in my phone that much. It was like the weirdest. It was so weird. And then I'm like, oh my God, I live close to Diggy Borland. It's cool.
That was a good question that you're alluding to by saying Rodman more than Jordan for you. So you asked what celebrity I've been like starstruck around.
Uh-huh.
For me, I could think of a celebrity because I remember telling someone, if I ever met Michael Jordan, I don't know how I would act.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Because Jordan, to me, you know, the greatness of Jordan. But is there anyone like that for you where you're like, besides Rodman? Well, no,
Right.
you saw Rodman, so
Yeah.
never mind. But like someone you've never met, but if you met them, you'd be like, is it like The Rock or is it like some professional wrestler?
I think it would be
or
Eddie
something?
Murphy. Huh? Hulk
Your dad,
Hogan?
Hulk Hogan.
I hate to admit, but maybe Dane Cook.
Really?
No,
I thought you were going to say Eddie Murphy for a second.
I was gonna be Eddie Murphy. I think Eddie Murphy would be up there. He's so big for me as a kid.
I got you. Yeah.
But like, I think with Jordan and the Jordan Rodman thing is because Jordan was so part of my household because I watched The Air Up There and Michael Jordan's Playground. I'd watch like almost every week.
Great.
And the movies and all that stuff. And he just seemed so like likable that I think I'd be like more willing to be like, oh my God, you're my hero. But there was something like just cool and kind of standoffish about Rodman. You know what I mean? Where I'd get, you know, some people you just feel like you have a different connection with.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that would be for me, where I'd just be like, so like, whoa, who the fuck are you? Chris D'Elia? Okay.
Yeah.
Say Donald Trump. We all know.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's a good. I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
no.
I'm trying to give you an answer.
What
It's not like some famous wrestler because you're such a big
David
wrestling fan.
Hasselhoff?
David Hasselhoff. That'd be great.
What about like Tom Cruise or an actor? of
yeah,
some sort?
Tom Cruise, because he's just such an enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom. Would you be? How would you feel about that?
I'd be weird around Tom Cruise.
Yeah, right.
Because there's some people who are just like so famous.
Yeah,
Where
I
you're
bet
just
you'd
like-
be weird around The Rock.
He's
He's just so larger than life.
He is a big fucker. So I think I could be weird around. I think I would be
Yeah.
weird around The Rock.
Who do you think's a celebrity you'd be like, what's up, dude? Like if they came up to you to be like, hey, can I borrow you? Like, hold on 1 second. Like you would do that to them.
Oh shit.
Where you could be like, I think
Big
Robert
time.
Pattinson. I'd be like, dude, Batman, shut up for a second. Hold on.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the celebrities who try to play tough, but I'm like, I'll fucking kill you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You think you're tough, you ain't shit. E from Entourage, I would definitely be.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? I like him too. I like his character. I like the actor seems cool, but like, just the way he comes off
Yeah.
in that show.
Pipsqueak.
And he was the fucking tough kid fucking with Rocky's son in Rocky 5.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he's like 12 years old in that. Or something like
didn't-
that.
I didn't-
He was
I
a
didn't
child
know that.
actor. You knew
Yeah.
that, right, Austin?
No, but I like when you said that, I could picture who it was.
Yeah. So I think anyone who was a child actor who's still acting and doing well for themselves, I'd big time them a little bit. Chet Hanks, I'd be
Really?
like- yeah. 'Cause
Chet Hanks or the other?
both the Hank boys.
Okay.
But Chet especially, because Chet I feel like would be like, yo, play, let me get that lighter. And I'd be like, first of all, you don't know me like that.
Yeah,
Also, I didn't
right.
hear a goddamn please.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, all right, here's the lighter. I'd be like, oh, I'll do one of those. I'm like,
Right.
no, I'm just fuck with you. Here, no, I'll light it. And then I
Yeah.
fucking throw the lighter to someone else.
Yeah. I think James Vanderbeek's that with me. Or I'd be like, yo, Beak. I know he's got cancer now, so he's even weaker. But like, I would be like, I would be
James
like,
Vanderbeek.
he just seems like such a sweetheart. Where I'd just be like, whatever, Beak.
You know what? I would have agreed with that, but he has a sense of humor. Do you ever see that show?
He's so good in it.
Don't trust the, you know what I'm talking about. Don't
Yeah.
trust the bee in apartment 23. So that's why I kind of see him a little differently.
But he's such a bitch in
He
Dawson's.
was a bitch in Dawson's
He's such a
Creek,
bitch
man.
in Dawson's.
You know who
I
I
hated him in Dawson's Creek. He's the worst.
You know who I love as an actress, and I'll admit, attractive to, or I'm attracted to her. What's her face? Oh, damn. Why am I blanking now? Crap. Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh yeah,
But-
she seems like chummy. Like she'd be fun
Yes,
to hang
she'd
out
be
with.
super
Yeah.
fun to hang out with. but her character in Hunger Games, especially you ever see the Hunger Game movies, but the one where it's like, we got to get PETA. We need to save PETA. And I remember just being like, fucking shut up about fucking PETA.
Yeah.
Okay? He's going to get you all killed. PETA's a bitch.
Yeah.
Get over it. Okay?
Yeah.
It was 4 movies ago. He did one nice thing.
Yeah.
All right? What happened to the Hemsworth? That's the guy you're supposed to be with. He's a
Right.
fucking Hemsworth. That's this little bitch boy that looks like the Polar Express kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, he is actually the Polar Express kid. I wish I had chosen something else.
Yeah.
He is. They used his little body. What's his name? Josh Hutcherson or something? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. JH.
Yeah. I don't.
JH.
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 But yeah, she's just so like, PETA. We got to get PETA. And I'm just like, she's lucky she won me back with some other roles.
Yeah.
She's not lucky, actually. She doesn't know who I am. She could care less, probably. But
I
I'm
just
saying.
want to have a beer with her.
Yeah, I think she's
I think
awesome.
she was on our list, wasn't she?
Celebrities to have a beer with?
We had celebrities we would love to have a beer
I get
with.
Margot.
Yeah,
I had
Margot.
Margot Robbie because she's Australian. I bet she could throw him back.
I don't.
But
know.
still remember
Jennifer
her.
Lawrence seems like she's like so fucking funny.
She
She's
is
just cool,
very
too.
funny. She's cool in interviews.
I feel like she'd be
I
like,
like
hey,
her.
she'd be like, hey Joe, watch this, and she goes fuck with somebody real quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And she's
As
smart.
a show for you.
That's
That's why I hated No Hard Feelings because
no, I love that movie.
Really?
I still don't know why. I thought it was. You know why? Because we haven't had a good old fashioned 95-minute comedy movie where it's like, look, the stakes aren't crazy here, but
Yeah.
we got some gags, we got some laughs. It's gonna get a little raunchy.
I liked what they're going for. I was just like, she's so much funnier than this. I just thought she just wasn't great.
Oh, okay. You thought they could have utilized
I
her
liked,
humor better?
yeah. You know what I rewatched this weekend, or I watched clips of, is Saving Silverman.
So good.
So good.
So good.
That's what
Underrated.
underrated.
Wildly underrated.
Very funny. And that's just made me want to be like, we got to do like you can't make that today like lists. Did we ever do that movie
No,
list?
we should though.
Yeah, of like the early aughts comedies.
What's in that one that you couldn't make it today? Oh, they
do you
have a
mean?
woman hostage. That's what it is. It took me a second. I'm thinking of Saving Silverman. Like,
Oh,
what,
yeah.
what in that movie could they?
Well,
not
the whole
do
thing is
today?
also the joke. There's like a lot of gay panic in that, which
Oh,
is
there was a lot of gay panic.
yeah. But but it's just so. I mean, like sorority boys.
But he turns out
like
to be gay
slackers.
at the end, so it was fun.
I know.
It makes it okay.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen at the end, I don't know if it's okay.
Yeah, my affinity for track lighting, the fact that like sucking dick.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, Judith. I see Judith. It was just like, and Steve Zahn and Jack Black. Now we're just doing quotes.
I know.
We should have a whole podcast where
I
we just
gotta
do
watch
quotes.
that movie.
Do quotes. Rewatch it. You gotta rewatch that. You gotta rewatch Slackers. Like,
Slackers,
Even-
so underrated
even-
too.
right?
Devin Sawa, really good.
you've seen
in that.
Slackers? It's so
Yes,
good.
Jason
Oh,
Segel's great.
So
that
funny.
movie has one of my favorite beginnings. It establishes the fucking
Everything.
You instantly like them within 6 minutes.
yeah. And then you're
They
watching, and you're like, is that the dude from Pete and Pete?
Yeah.
And he's singing to his dick who's singing back to him. You're like, what is going on here?
Those three were so good. I'm surprised they didn't. Jason Segel obviously went on to have a really huge career, but I'm just surprised you didn't see more of Devin Sawa on the other guy.
Yeah. When you
Segel did great.
When you treat a girl like dirt, she'll stick to you like mud.
Jamie King is so hot in that.
Oh, she's gorgeous in that.
One of the most beautiful women.
Yeah.
And fucking what's his face is fantastic. Jason Schwartz.
Yeah.
So good in that.
He's so great.
Cool
I was on Austin because we were going through Matt Damon movies before you were here. Hey, Damon. And like, I was like, you've never seen Stuck on You? Remember Stuck on You?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny too.
Where they're conjoined twins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was pretty funny.
That was like those like the Kingpin just came out on 4K Blu-ray.
That was a good little. That era's underrated. What was going on?
Even like Euro Trip. Euro Trip's such a weird movie that we've
Eurotrip
all
was-
seen it.
Euro Trip was one of those movies that, like, you thought Jennifer Lawrence could have been funnier in No Hard Feelings or whatever, or they didn't utilize her as well, or her comedic talent. I felt like Euro Trip as a concept was funnier than it was executed.
I could see that.
I remember watching that movie being like, it could have been better. It
Yeah.
just could have been better. But there was some really good stuff. Matt Damon's cameo, and it's one of the all-time cameos ever.
Dude, one of
That'd
the
be a good
best.
top five cameos.
Top 5 cameos. And also just the whole like, I mean, when I went to Europe, you know how many times in my head I would just go, Muscoozy. It's such a
Yeah.
weird thing that we all did at that age around that time where like, I don't even think that movie was that big, but everyone know about like, Muscoozy.
Yeah. It's like that guy who plays like the friend with the long hair that's all crazy.
Yeah. I
He
didn't
ended
park
up-
my car here.
Yeah. He ended up being like not dramatic, but like he got a role in the TV show Justified.
Oh, yeah.
And he
Yeah.
just plays a cop and he has short hair. And at first I was like, I know this guy from somewhere.
Yeah.
Then I looked up his IMDb, like, yes, Euro Trip. He had long hair and played like the goofy best friend stoner kind of guy.
He's in The Sinner too with Jessica Alba.
Oh, really?
Right. I'm sorry, not Jessica Alba. Jessica Biel.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
She's good looking. But yeah, man.
Oh, Alba all the way. What are you talking about?
Alba
Over
versus
Biel?
Ooh, we could have a Jessica
Biel's
bracket.
more. I mean, Biel's more.
This episode's been good for future episodes.
Yeah.
You keeping track of
Notes?
these?
You taking notes, dickhead?
Yes.
All right.
Good Good job, producer Austin. You know, it's really funny. We're about to start our list. I just want to say I apologize to Austin and Jonah, but I literally finished my sip of a THC drink right before I walked in your door, and I wish
Is it
you
hitting
would
right
have
now?
waited. No, it's good when it hits me because I'm in a great mood when it hits me,
Okay.
especially when I only have one can. I don't know if it's the best podcast. Maybe I get silly, but Jonah had a little argument, everyone, and it would not have gone down the way it did if I would have waited another 10 minutes for this thing to kick in. That's what I'm laughing about right now. You know what I mean?
Okay. So if we're gonna
like
have
the
if we're
Tylenol
gonna have a
works.
disagreement, should I go? When did you take your THC?
Yeah, be like, are you on your meds? Your medication okay?
We just stare at each other.
I actually switched to taking my meds at night now because I got off schedule one morning because I was running late and I ran out of the house and I'm like, I can't go back and get the pills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was running errands and whatnot. Anyhow,
How's that journey going?
the pills?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Pretty good overall.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I argue with people, I don't scream until today. But yeah, I had a good stretch going.
Yeah.
It's like fucking 40 days. Of
I was
not
okay.
yelling.
So I will say a little joke is if we're doing the fourth wall break here, we got this was a carry on from last week. We got into a little a bit of a tiff, and you understandably you were getting upset, and you could tell you like you just needed to kind of separate yourself from whatever, and you were just like, you know what, I got to get out of here, and then you left, and then but it was so calm and collected that like Austin and I were just like, is he coming back?
Yeah.
And then we both and then you didn't, but you said you weren't coming back. And the funny thing is that like we kind of like came up with a consensus was like, all right, if he's gonna do that, at least give us like a show.
Yeah,
at least give us at least make me feel a little scared, and then
That's funny.
yeah,
That's
or
really funny, yeah.
because it was just so it was like, and then I looked at Austin and I was like, he's doing a lot of good work, because it was just like it's one of those moments where I was like,
Committed to what he said he was going to do. There was
Yeah,
follow
right,
through.
right.
There was follow through right
Yeah.
there. He said it calmly.
He said it calmly. He said it like concise. Like it was just, and I was like, whoa, way to go, Joe.
Yeah. But also like, why didn't you come back?
Yeah.
You should have came back. Yes, but we got a grid list going right now. I'm very excited for yours because I could tell.
For mine?
Yes, because I could tell while we've been rambling on about other things that you're like, should have put that person. Should have put that
know.
person. So I'm dying to know who you actually did pick.
Dude, I'm so bad at that. Quick story. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away last year, and that'd be insane if I was like, fortunately, my grandfather passed away last year, and I was so I had to do a eulogy, and I was so like nervous about writing the eulogy, and I set up all night, and I was like, all right, what's like, you had to have like a theme, whatever. And then like I was asking my family about like stuff he would say, and one thing was like, oh, let it ride. Like he was in construction, and then if people were like, hey Chuck, there's too much stuff in your cab of your truck, like you should probably be careful. And he goes, let it ride. Like he's always like, it'll be fine, right? And I was like, all right, that'll be the theme, right? And then at the end, I'm like, if you guys feel sorry, whatever, just know that Chuck would say, let it ride. And then I get off. I get off the stage, whatever. We're like gonna go where he's getting buried, and then my cousin's in the car, and she said something, and I was like, yeah, like the Grosskopf man training, and she's like, what? And I'm like, my grandfather would like, I went to Florida, and for a week straight, he like taught me how to be like chivalrous and how to open car doors for people, and like how to do the elevator and all that stuff. And then I was like telling this really great story, and then I looked at my girlfriend, and I was just like, I fucking forgot to mention that. Like that was the whole point of that was literally the whole story I wanted to do, and I wanted to be like, all right, we're all going back. I gotta finish this.
Yeah, God.
It's the worst is when you're just like, oh fuck.
God, that just made me laugh. This would be like a really funny thing to put in a movie or a TV series where a character gets like a eulogy redemption because say like the grandfather dies, but then 2 years later the grandmother dies.
Yeah.
And now you take the grandmother's eulogy, but really you fix your errors from 2 years ago.
When it happened to me. I don't know if I have mentioned this on the podcast, but I mean, people know that my parents passed away like within a year apart, and like I had callbacks to my dad's funeral at my mom's funeral.
Wow.
Yeah.
By the way, I feel like write better eulogies and prepare more for your eulogies than you do for your stand-up.
It's insane. It's very true.
The way you detailed it, and then you're like, and then we'll come full circle with this. If you guys are sad, he'll say, let it ride. As
Right.
you said that, I remember being like, damn, man, that's
Yeah.
like land a plane.
Oh, dude, my mom's funeral, I am murdered. I was so funny. And I don't think I mentioned this. I will say
You
this.
didn't murder your mom, though.
Huh?
You didn't murder your mom?
Of course not. You can't prove it. But I do have a new book called If I Murdered My Mom, This Is How I Would Do It. It's
I see that cover.
well, no, so I'm sorry, I know we're starting, but quick story. So, my dad's funeral, first time I ever spoke at a funeral, and I was like kind of presented in a weird way where I was the only one speaking, and I went up on the podium, like eulogy, the stage, whatever, and I accidentally because I got nervous. I started how you just kind of start hosting stand up. So I
How are we
go,
doing tonight?
yeah, I was like, I was just like, I looked around and I was like, oh, hey, everyone. I just want to say thanks for coming out. Why don't we give each other a big round of applause for coming out? And I made everybody, I'm not kidding, I made everybody like, and I think the first thing I said was like, usually people clap when I get on stage. Like I said that. And then, I looked at my girlfriend and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And like, so then I tell that story at my mom's. I go, hey, it's really hard to start these things. And unfortunately, I've gotten a lot of experience with it lately. If you guys don't know, my dad passed away, and I told that story, and I go, "That's a lesson. That's how you don't start a eulogy." And then I go, before I say anything, I do want to say one thing. As for me and my family, I want to thank the person that was helping us out. And I was like, I want to thank you so much for what you did. I don't know what we'd do without you. You've been so helpful and amazing. And then I waited a beat, a couple pregnant pauses, and I was like, actually, why don't we give her a big round of applause for what she's done for the family? And then I made everybody give her a clap. And then I said, that's what's called a callback.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was my story.
No, it was a great story, buddy. I love that.
And I looked up, and then my podcast partner at the time, Kelsey Huff, we did the Bachelor podcast. She's really the only comic I really told about it. Because I know you guys wanted to come.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until.
Yeah, I just didn't want to tell anybody. But she like insisted, she went, and then I looked over and she was laughing her fucking tits off.
Nice.
It was amazing.
That's great, because I know she doesn't find you funny normally. So
no, I
that's
know.
really
I know.
great.
That's the thing. Right.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God. Like Patton Oswalt has this special right after his wife passed away. And he says some joke about it. And where the whole audience like pulls back and they do a tight shot. And it's Kelsey. And she's leaning forward, laughing her tits off as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can see her now because I knew that laugh. I was
gotta
like, oh my God,
watch.
it's Kelsey. And then I rewatched. I'm like, oh my God, of course. Like this really dark.
Oh, yeah, he shot that at the Vic in Chicago, right?
He did. Yeah.
That's right. All right, I got to check that out.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's
Normally, a guy like him wouldn't want to cut to the audience, but I think for that moment it made sense.
Yeah, because it pulled everyone back, and just one beautiful woman just laughing her dick, like beautiful person.
Just do you remember real quick all the comedy specials from like that were ever made up until 2007 were so many audience shots.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Comedy Central ones were the worst. The half-hour audience shots they used to do, the presents. And then Louis C.K. was like, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't think Carlin and Pryor had it that much. It was more like focused on them. But anyway, so then Bill Burr was like, I don't want that either. And for a while, there were no audience shots. But now I'm seeing them pepper back in a little here.
I
and
like
there.
Chelsea
They're doing so much crowd
Peretti
work.
when she would do the audience shots, but it was kind of off-putting, but it would be like a dog or like something.
Yeah, remember Sarah Silverman
Yeah.
did something like that.
Yeah,
too
because
once.
we're cutting the pilot we did for Blackout Diaries, and our director and editor, same thing, where they had those in there, and we were like, we don't do that anymore. You could just tell it's like, oh, I thought that's what because it's like it's an edit point in the story or the joke, right? But then that's why they do the shot behind with the audiences there, but it's not one because you can always tell like that's not the joke they're laughing at.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're like, that's not the and then or they'll be like, that's the same spot, but those are different people. You can tell.
My first year of comedy in Chicago, on demand was still a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you had cable, you have on demand. So Comcast that did on demand, they filmed some local comedians for like a local comedy spotlight thing for on demand channel. Do you ever hear this story?
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I knew about that though.
But they did two shows, and the first show was pretty full. The second show did not sell.
Uh-huh.
And so they asked comedians, they're like, oh, maybe we could get some comedians to fill in the crowd. And I'm like, I'm not going in there. And someone's like, why? I'm like, I could just tell they're going to do something really stupid where they're going to edit you laughing at you.
Yeah.
And they go, no, come on. And that's exactly what they did. This
Did they?
one comic, he doesn't do comedy anymore. So whatever, Victor. I don't need to say his last name. Nice guy. But Victor did his set, tells a joke that bombs, literally bombs. And then they cut to the crowd and you see him looking disappointed at himself from the crowd. I called it. I fucking knew. Because I literally watched everyone's to see if they'd made that mistake, and then they did. And it was hilarious.
Those are my favorite like continuity errors. Like we won't mention the comedian, but there is a comedian here in Chicago that shot a special, and it must have been his early taping, he brought up a bottle of water, like a plastic bottle of water, and the second taping he brought up a glass of water. And even in the same joke, you see that change on the stool. So he was smart enough to put it in the same spot, but it kept changing. So like he'll like set up and you can see a plastic bottle there, and then the punchline hits, and then it like cuts to another angle and it's a glass. And also he has the over shoulder shot, and there's a really predominant couple sitting there, and then they will also change too from different people. And I always put it out whenever I feel bad about something I've done, because I'm always like, at least it wasn't that.
You know, it'd be funny to do something like that on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, you know, all of a sudden they cut, and then he's wearing a different sweatshirt.
Yeah.
It's very obvious. And then they cut again, and then he's like a black guy.
Yeah.
And that cuts, you know, I'm just being goofy now. That shit sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. We got to check out our list now. Do you want to lead us off? I've got my 5, 4. I got listed 5, 4.
Do you want to do one where I'll guess one of yours and you guess one of mine?
You want to lead off with that?
Sure.
That'd be fun. All right. Guess which one of mine.
Okay.
You think hit me the hardest?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, hold on. I got a little backspace here. Delete.
Oh, guess it. Was it 3?
Well, you know, I just like, you know, people had a lot of fun on that island. You know,
They
there was
did.
great surfing.
Right. It inspired the movie Blink Twice. Good movie.
Yeah, you know, it was a lot more than just the crimes.
We wouldn't have gotten the Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself meme stuff.
That really was the last thing to unite this country.
It really was.
Everyone, right and left, Republican, Democrat, was having a lot of fun with that.
That college, the the ESPN college thing, where the kid did that.
Yeah.
That was like epic. You know,
Epic.
that guy got a lot of pussy for like at least a week or two.
He died from so much of it.
Yeah,
That
for
was
sure.
really, he's my honorable mention, celebrity death.
Okay.
Yeah, his name was Mike Michelson.
Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike's so good they named him twice.
Yeah.
Something like that. I tried to be clever and I failed. But
Mhm.
listen, I'm excited I know one of yours.
What is it?
Come on, baby.
What?
Come on.
What do you think?
When Mr. Rogers died, you threw a parade. 'Cause
I was happy about it.
you were
Yeah.
like, I'm so glad that cunt is dead.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thank God, all my memories from my kid are erased. All the
Yeah.
bad things he's done to me, all the Epstein stuff he's done to me.
Yeah. That's what.
He had it, like he's the one that. Would it be crazy if you found out that Mr. Rogers of all people like originated the freak offs, or he was at one of the freak offs? Wouldn't that be crazy?
See Mr. Rogers get freaky?
He's got to. You can't be like that squeaky clean and not be like creepy as
'Cause
shit.
everyone loves him.
I know.
So I am hesitant to even make jokes about him, but do I think in an orgy he's making everyone come multiple times? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's so giving.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, he's all about neighborhood
He's probably the best lover of all time.
for sure, 100%.
I'm not even saying he's swinging pipe. He's probably very average, maybe even a little below.
Nobody knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Like, you know, some porn star could be done with the so-called best.
Hmm.
Some dude who's just swinging a hog leg.
Hmm.
And she then gets Mr. Rogers, average, maybe even slightly below,
Hmm.
inserted in her. Every neuron in her brain is going off. It is like a tidal wave coming out of her. You know what I mean? It's messy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But guess what? After he's done, he cleans it up because he's a gentleman.
because he's a gentleman.
He's bucketed and mopping it up. You know,
Yeah, I mean, he needs a fucking bucket and a mop.
I think he probably has them in his trunk.
That's like you got to go through 3 times.
You know how
Clean up
certain
that
people always have
evidence.
an extra pen? They always have a mint for you.
He's always got an extra bucket,
Yeah.
another cum bucket, a little mop.
Like he's Mr. Rogers,
Okay.
man. You think he's the type of guy that pulls out, ejaculates all over his stomach, and then goes watch Sports Center the next room?
No.
No way.
No,
No
let me take
way.
care of that, neighbor, and then he gets what he and then that's why you know why? That's why he takes off that cardigan. He switches off that cardigan because that's the cum rag.
Yeah, and he likes ass play
Yeah.
because the ass is the vagina's neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Clip that shit.
All right.
Okay,
my
can I
number-
guess? Can I guess my number 4 for
Daniel
you? My guest list for you?
We're gonna keep guessing every
No,
time?
one just pops in my
All
head.
right,
that's
fine,
all.
do it because I'm like this.
It's the backwards hat Columbine kid.
I like that you didn't
You
say
forget
his
I'm.
name.
That it does
You
it.
forget I was younger than him when he did that, so he's not a kid to me.
Okay, he's like he like looked up to him.
Backwards hat Columbine.
Not the trench coat one,
Okay,
the
stop.
backwards hat.
The backwards hat one. That popped in my head. That was
Yeah,
pretty
I
funny.
like that one. That's pretty good.
Also, okay, so can we say okay?
Oh, hold on. You know, it's really funny. The microphone is on my phone, so it's recording everything we're saying.
That's really funny. Erase that, please.
Oh, I am.
Okay, so can we? Sorry, I have to ask you this. So, because we were on the same age, so when the Columbine thing happened for you, were you in high school?
No.
You were just about ready to be in high school.
It was 98, so I was 7th or 8th grade.
Okay, I was pretty new in high school, and
We're
tragedy.
2 grades apart,
Yes,
though.
it's a tragedy. Horrible. Yes, right, but got me a lot of days off of school.
Got a half day, dude. Or you got a whole week off?
No, I mean, because what would happen is kids, when they knew that if they were like, because they were like, all right, you cannot say I'm going to kill you. You can't say like, because like, oh, I'm going to kill you, like any of this stuff. So people would just write on desks like 4 o'clock tomorrow. Everyone will find out. And then basically like one kid would be like, and then the whole school would like band together. Like this was like our school's, God damn it.
Hands Across America?
Kind of, but like where we didn't want to get shot. So we're just like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this at all. You can't make us stay. And then they're like, fine, you can have the day off. So then that's the second they were like, okay, have the day off. Then just every day it was like somebody would write something. I'm going to firebomb the school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And it was kind of like, all right, man. But like,
it's so messed up. But I like how your school all together without making plans to do this all looked at each other like, it'd be great to have a 3-day weekend.
Yeah, it'd be really great. So then I would have like that would happen, and I'd have these huge Nerf. Looking back, I probably shouldn't have a Nerf gun war to celebrate, but I'd have these huge Nerf gun wars in my house with it.
Pretty dope.
It's pretty dope.
I didn't know you were the Nerf gun kid. High school would have been more fun for you then.
I know it got bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and you think you'd be thinner dodging Nerf missiles?
I know. You know how I used to play Nerf gun stuff is that we would be in a tree, and then someone would be on the ground, and they would shoot at us, and we just would jump from branch to branch. I'm surprised nobody died. It's the things we would do as a kid is crazy. If you grab the bullet 3 times, then you could be the one shooting. So you had to like actually like try to grab it.
Oh, like catch it midair?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that insane?
It's like dodgeball, but I caught your bullet, so now you're out.
What's the scariest game you ever played as a kid?
Scariest game I ever played as a
Other than let me show you my feelings.
Scariest game. We did ding dong ditching through an apartment complex.
Really?
There was an apartment complex that my buddy knew the back door was never locked. So we went into the back door. It was one of those like 32 apartments.
Yeah.
So we just run down the hallway, knocking on doors, and eventually one guy like grabbed my friend he's like the friend that I didn't know, that the friend where you're like, I'm not going back for you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's collateral damage, man.
I don't even know why you were invited out for this. You know what I mean? So, and clearly you weren't good at it. You're the slowest.
Right.
But I remember thinking like that was pretty psychotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because Chicago.
I know.
Someone could have been like, fucking kids. So we could have gotten our asses
Like,
kicked.
who the fuck is that?
Or
right.
maybe, worse.
Yeah.
Or arrested.
Yeah.
Trespassing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's just like, for those of you who don't live in cities, there's apartments that are like fuckloads of people live in. There are multiple units, huge apartment complexes. And it was like one of those. And we did multiple floors. Yeah.
We actually had a firebombing at my school.
Oh my God.
It was
you
off.
win.
It wasn't when school started. It was like some kid did it. And so then we had to have a couple days off again. We were like, hell yeah, this is great. And then, of course, like an idiot, my friends and I were like playing with firecrackers and fireworks because it's almost the summer at the time. And then somebody calls the cops come over, and then
They question you.
They question me. Yeah,
of course.
So I was like a suspect for that for a little bit.
What's funny, I'm realizing about you and your friends is that you hear a thing and you then go, let's do this thing. And you're like, what made you think of that? Don't know.
Yeah.
Like the Nerf gun war. It's like, oh, because we were talking about guns all week and gun
know.
violence in America. And then it's like firebomb. And then I just like the idea of you
Yeah,
guys,
like
your friends,
firecrackers.
you guys are playing PlayStation. We should do something fun outside. I was thinking about lately firecrackers.
Yeah, why was I thinking of that?
Why are you thinking of herb?
Yeah,
Like, sure.
Who do you think did that, by the way? They never
yeah.
caught that, huh? They never caught that guy.
Never did. All right, who's your number? Let's get into
Okay,
this list
sorry.
now. Yeah.
Number 5. I'm not sarcastic. It's going to feel like I am. Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
That was a hard one for me.
Yeah, I can see that because you were really in love with the Fast and Furious movies.
I was, and I really loved
Varsity Blues.
Into the Blue.
I love it. Well, yes, we were talking about that. Into the Blue is one of my favorite movies of all time. And then
Jessica Alba's ass in that one scene.
I know. It's so.
I mean, that girl got her leg bitten up by a shark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
I watched the movie and I was like, I'm moving to Florida for a year for sure. And then, which is also funny because of Jeff Sheen, a comedian friend of ours, his dig on me was, you know exactly where you were when Paul Walker died. And I was like, I do remember exactly where I was.
That's a good roast joke.
It was a pretty good roast joke,
Yeah.
but I was like, I do actually remember, and it was really sad for me. But yeah, Paul Walker. He just died. Like, I mean, I know he was like being a dickhead, but like, can you imagine a fiery crash?
It's awful,
It's
especially
awful.
given what he became known for, Fast and the Furious. But he wasn't even driving, right?
No, I think he was a passenger. That's even worse.
That's even worse because you're
Right.
probably thinking, dude, slow the fuck down. I'm dead.
Yeah. where you're like, or you're just like, yeah, this is great, and then you just that's like the last thing.
Yeah, fire car accidents are really bad, and I saw pictures of that. I was living in LA at the time. It was like
Were you really?
2014.
Oh,
Yeah, I just moved out there.
yeah.
It was a pretty crazy thing. I know that street.
So you felt it a little deeper.
You know, I remember being shocked and saddened by that because I remember thinking like, man, he was one of those dudes where teen star.
Yeah.
Then because of the Fast and the Furious franchise, he was really aging well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wasn't doing a whole lot outside of Fast and the Furious, but still.
Oh, he was though. But that's the thing is he was. He's
he
like
was.
he had the hours. He had.
Oh yeah, the hours.
Yeah, and there's another movie. It's the same name with a Billy Crystal movie, and it's a Chicago movie where he's a cop. What is that with and the tap dancing guy?
God, I know what you're talking about. Him and the dude from Willy Wonka, right? Is what you're talking about? No?
Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines. The black guy? Or is he a black guy?
He's a black dude. Yeah.
He's in there with Billy Crystal.
Yes.
I remember Billy Crystal's wearing a Cubs jersey in that.
Yes, all the time.
All the time,
Yeah. And I cannot for the life of me remember that
Running
movie.
through alleys.
But he's in a movie like that that's based on a graphic novel that I just like I adore. That's
Okay,
a
so
great
yeah, so
movie.
he was aging well. His career was going in the right direction. So I remember thinking when he died, I'm like, I wonder what he would have been like in his 60s.
Mm-hmm. He's I know.
Can't be like the
Because he'd be in his
California
50s
guy.
right now.
He would be probably. Yeah, no, he would be. You're right.
Yeah, and what's a good movie too is Timeline. It's one of his last movies where he like goes back to the Middle Ages to save his dad.
Oh wow,
His dad gets transferred back there. It's a pretty fucking sweet movie.
pretty dope. All right, well, my number 5 is gonna have a lot of whys, but I think I'll be able to explain it well. Number 5 for me on celebrities' deaths that just hit me really hard. Betty White.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people listening are gonna be like, dude, she was 99, had a great life. Well, she wasn't cut down in her prime. Why is that one hitting you so hard? Because Betty White was like a day before turning 100.
I know.
She was such a constant. She was such like this fun old lady. And she also represents like, I just remember watching Golden Girls as a kid and thinking of her as like my grandma, like my grandma's age, part of my grandma's generation.
You know she's only 36 in that first season?
Not 36.
Kidding.
I know they don't
I know,
like compared to women now and all that. But it's so yeah, I remember when she died just thinking like, well, there goes my grandma's generation. They're all just gonna be gone now.
Yeah.
And they are. If my grandma was still alive, she'd be 90, turning 95.
Yeah, my grandma's
I actually just
96.
lost another grandma.
Oh,
R.I.P.
that's
Grandma
right.
Kogan.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it sucked. Just, deaths, let's keep this fun and lighthearted. But anyway,
About our list?
out of our list, yeah. Fun and lighthearted stuff. Half of somebody does. Yeah, it's just whenever there's a death that marks the end of a chapter of culture,
Right.
and that's to me what Betty White's death was.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I guess this whole episode's gonna be a little dark, but it's hard. Like now, especially with social media, where you're just like, God, everyone's fucking dropping dead right now. Like that. That's like we're something in our childhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like and it's also now it's like fuck, I am getting a little older, and I do the math every time somebody dies. I do the math. 26 years away from that. Like 18 years away from that. You know what I mean?
And we had parents who died way before their time. So sometimes when you hear about some, like when Gene Hackman died, we talked about that more because it was a crazy story.
Yeah.
But no part of me was like, oh,
I know.
this guy was suffering for a while.
For a long time.
He was 95. Great life. You know what I mean? Like you can't, most of the celebrity deaths that hit you should be people where you're like, they had more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because otherwise I'm like, that prick lives to be 90 and my fucking dad was 67. Fuck
Yeah.
that shit. You know what I mean? That's normal human being stuff.
And Betty White's like reminds me of my crazy. My grandmother's name's also Betty, but they even like look alike. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's just like that was like an end of like an era. Like when Dick Van Dyke goes, it'll be similar.
That's gonna be a hard one for me.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
gonna suck.
Right.
All right,
You
what's
think
your
his 40-year-old girlfriend's gonna be upset about it?
no.
No, I don't think so.
At his age, he's probably like he might have outlived all his kids. Think about it, when you're 99, there's a good chance your kids will die in their 70s because a lot of people die in their 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't blame a 99-year-old for being like, I'm gonna get a 40-year-old who I don't know, maybe he's pumping Viagra, maybe he's like, I don't care about the sexual chemistry.
Like,
I
show me
like
your
you as
tits.
a companion.
Right.
And we're hanging out a lot and I have a lot of money and I don't have anyone who's going to inherit it. So why not you?
Do you think he's got a lot of money?
We talked about this before. Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
we did net worth on him?
He's got 50 million.
50 million.
15?
50.
Oh,
50.
50.
50.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think I did the same thing last time.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
All right. My number 4. Or no, was it you?
Sure.
No, wait.
Unless you want to do snake stuff.
No, no, it's your turn for number
Yeah,
4. I'm
unless
sorry. I
you wanna
totally
do snake
screwed up. Yeah.
Okay. So, an obvious choice because what we already talked about it. I was gonna put Bob Uecker. That's really hard for me because that's the end of an era for me, and he just like was such influence comedically. He's like one of the first guys I really fell in love with funny wise. But I was like, we already kind of talked about it, and I want this is going to sound silly, but it actually meant a lot to me. James Avery, Uncle Phil.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said Uncle Phil because I was like, who are you talking about? Uncle
Yeah,
Phil from
dude,
Fresh
that
Prince of Bel-Air.
yeah, that was really like he was like I watched Fresh Prince all the time, and he was like such a father figure on that, and I just was like, when I finally died, I was like, I don't know why I'm taking this hard. This is a hard one for me. And it doesn't make any sense because all I know him is his Uncle Phil. I don't know his career after or before. I know he was a great stage actor, but it was
Tall guy too.
tall guy.
I will say this. I
Want me,
know,
Phil?
I know what it is. That scene you're about to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in that scene, there's a famous scene. Everyone, even if you don't know the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I guarantee you came across this, where Will's dad in the show abandons him again after he started to think my dad's gonna be the dad I always wanted to be. Finally, he bails on him again because he's a piece of shit dad. Uncle Phil, who was always hard on Will, steps up in a way where it's like it's really emotional. You know what I mean? Like Will Smith's acting phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay,
And-
Lou.
Yeah.
See you later, Lou.
Yeah, you won't call him dad. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Come, you don't want me.
in that moment, people who don't have good relationship with their father,
Mm.
which I fortunately did. I don't know. I had a great relationship with my dad. So, but I remember reading comments on those videos where they're like, "He's the dad you wanted."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For
Yeah.
people who didn't have a good dad.
You know what's crazy about that is that he would James Avery, because this one Will Smith was like he wanted to have more weight and dramatic scenes, so that's why that scene was in there because he became an executive producer and was like, I want to show I know that I'm a good actor, I want to show this off, I want to learn. And James Avery was like, you're not, and then I guess was like, do it again, and then he kept making Will do it over and over and over again to the point that Will is like so frustrated. Because he's just like, I did it. I did good. I had it. And James was like, you didn't. And he pushed him to the point where to a breaking point, and that's the scene you see.
Oh, wow, so he did that on purpose.
He did that on
That's
purpose.
great teaching.
Yeah.
Does Will Smith thank him in anything with that?
I don't know. I don't know that I'm gonna get this part of the story wrong, but I guess when they embrace, which is one part where he kind of hits his hat and he throws his hat away.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. But he embraced, and I think he said something. He did it, like
And so Will Smith probably has respect for him then.
for sure.
Goody shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Them talking about him passing away in the reunion was really sad.
Oh, I never saw the Fresh Prince reunion. Oh,
Which is also why in the same slot I had Matthew Perry on that too.
Matthew Perry, I forgot about his death, which
Yeah.
was only like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I
Yeah.
shouldn't have forgot about it. His was a sad one too.
Yeah, to me, it's just kind of like it didn't hit me like sad. Just the way he died was just like, oh, that's just kind of
because it felt like he was getting his life together.
yeah,
Because he had struggled with addiction throughout the Friends run.
Mm-hmm.
There's one season where he's chubby, the next season he's like rail thin.
Yeah.
It's like whoa. And they even have him wearing the same outfit because season like 7 ends on like kind of
Yeah,
a
I remember that.
cliffhanger, and then season 8 starts in like the same continuation from the previous season. And so he's wearing the same clothes, but he is physically very different.
That's what I hate about people now is they're never gonna understand that where like a show ends on a cliffhanger and then it comes back and everyone's hair is different. They went tanning. They went to a nice trip on their break off and they're just completely different
Someone
people.
got pregnant.
And they have to act like they're the same exact person, which
Yeah.
is that's the best thing about the new Mission Impossible movie is because it was shot over like what, Austin, 4 years,
Yeah.
5 years, and like let me tell you something about Tom Cruise. He didn't age at all until a couple years ago, and that motherfucker's starting to age. And there are scenes where it's like he's really young in one, and then he cuts to like another, and you're like, oh man, that didn't work out well for you in that one, bud.
Oh, I gotta see this movie.
I mean, he looks incredible. No matter what, he still looks
He's
incredible.
shirtless a lot now. That's the most he's naked in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, yeah. The movie just felt like like he was just like, okay, so I'm gonna run, but what if like I get really wet and I have to take off all my clothes? Like, there's a lot of that.
if you're working that hard in your 60s to keep that bod,
I mean, he looks great.
Can't blame him. Okay,
That, by the way, that's gonna fuck me up when Tom Cruise dies.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that. That'd be a really tough one. Okay, my number 4 is Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, I was lucky enough to shake his hand once. He popped into a really small bar in Chicago and did stand-up.
Yeah, I heard about
You
this.
remember hearing about that?
I just moved to the city when that happened.
Yeah, it was incredible. And so many of his movies are so like, that's why when they did a montage of him on some show, or if maybe I saw it on YouTube, his movies almost like put life into perspective in so many ways. Like that scene in
Last Call on the Hudson.
Yes, or that scene in Oh Captain, My Captain.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I know you were kidding, by the way. Aladdin. Like he's the voice in so many things. So his death was just like that guy because he was so full of energy and life that to see that go away, and then when you found out it was suicide, you're like, oh.
I know. Did you see the SNL kind of Captain O'Captain, and the teacher stands up, and then the fan cuts his head off?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he starts bleeding for everybody.
I did see that.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, and he was just like so good. Like I loved him so much in Good Will Hunting, like that.
Great.
He's so good in that.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. All this, Joe. It's not your fault, son. Hey, it's not your fault.
Not you too, Jonah.
He's so. I mean, like, and then like, I loved him in Awakenings.
Oh, underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Great performance in that.
And
that movie still gets me emotional. Robert De Niro's in it.
And Good Morning Vietnam. He's phenomenal in that.
So good in that.
He should have been. I mean, I know he's very well respected as an actor, but I think he should have been even more. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think it's just because they just silly guy.
He's a silly guy.
Like, but his dramatic acting,
Dude.
so next level. Freaked me out in 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah.
Played a good creep in that.
And it's just really sad what happened to his brain.
Hook.
Right? He had some like weird disease
He had
that
some
basically
disease
caused
where
him-
he was like, I'm not going to let this kill me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's disease in 1 Hour Photo you're talking about? The character?
No, in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like, I don't remember that in 1 Hour Photo. But maybe.
Yeah. That was a hard one. That was my number one.
Fire, so funny.
That was my number one, by the way.
Robin Williams?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad that we're in, we're not going to do a combined top 5.
No,
but if we
no.
were to.
Yeah.
All right.
My
What's your
fives.
number 3?
This one just was like, oh, goddamn. Chadwick Boseman.
Unfucking real, dude.
Unfucking real. Is that in there?
That's my number 3.
Oh, wow.
No,
yeah.
for real. Look.
Yeah,
Chadwick.
yeah.
How about it, man?
Yeah. Oh, look how happy we are. But yeah.
Because first of all, we knew him. He was so like. There's a quote from Neil Young that supposedly is in Kurt Cobain's suicide note. I say supposedly because Kurt Cobain wouldn't be that type of guy anyway. That's why I think it's a fake suicide note. The quote is, "It's better to burn out than to fade away."
Yeah.
And that, not that he burnt out, but like it also just can mean like you were on the top and then nothing took you down. We just saw the rise and rise.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a documentary about Chadwick Boseman, it should be called The Rise and Rise of Chadwick Boseman.
Right.
Because there was no fall there, and then you find out that he was concealing it because he wanted people to treat him different.
Right. And
he
everyone was
played
like,
iconic characters.
I know.
Jackie Robinson,
Yeah.
Black Panther. Like
Yeah.
that was a cultural event. But yeah, what were your thoughts when it happened too? Same stuff, basically.
Yeah, when you found out that he was kept a secret and didn't want to know, and then because I remember the like, tabloids just being like, oh, he's got a drug issue. Oh, there's something going on because all the weight loss he had, and he's just a man just like struggling. And then I watched 21 Bridges, and he's like really skinny in that, and he's so good in it too. It's a pretty fun movie.
Yeah.
You see that?
No,
It's good.
I heard he's great in it though.
Yeah,
He's
he
great
was
in everything.
He just seemed like he seemed like a guy you want to get a drink with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very down to earth, humble. I've seen him in interviews where I'm like, I like this dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's where it was really sad. And it was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot going on in the world. And you're like, this guy's gone now.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Like there was a lot of uncertainty. Everyone's thinking that their favorite small business isn't going to recover. And how bad it's going to be. And we're going to get sick. So yeah, that's why that was
And you kind of like, was it COVID? And then like, no, it's this thing's been struggling with you for so long. You're like, oh, that's even worse.
And then those people should have all felt like shit for being like, oh,
I know.
addicted to drugs,
Good. They should.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't assume shit. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on in someone's life. Well, all right, cool. Well, this speeds up the podcast a little bit. What's your number 2?
Because you're number 3.
Because we had the same 3, so we just did 3 together.
My number 2, this one like surprised me how hard I took it, and it was during the right before the pandemic. Too, Kobe Bryant. Is that your number 2? That's your number 1?
That's my number 2.
Yeah.
No bullshit.
Yeah.
Kobe.
Yeah. I didn't see your
Unreal.
list when you looked at it, so I didn't know.
By the way, you put Bob Uecker, though there's your honorable mention. I was going to put Harry Carey.
Really?
But then I kind of thought like, because you're like, Harry Carey was the voice of the Chicago Cubs when I fell in love with baseball, and I fell in love with the Cubs.
Yeah, it's Bob Uecker. Same. Well, I didn't fall in love so much. I mean, I did love baseball, but yeah, he's in your ear.
Yeah,
Right
there. So just that was the sad thing.
Yeah, and it reminds me of my grandfather.
And he was one of the first celebrities I remember meeting.
You
But
met
I didn't
Harry
really
Carey?
meet him. So my mom took my sister and I to a Cubs game on Mother's Day. Like I was like 6 or 7. And Harry Carey he would like be down on the field, and then he would go up to the booth to do the game. And as he walked up, people would get his autograph.
Nice.
And my mom got him to sign her ticket stub, and he said happy birthday to my sister. And I was just like, bye, Harry. I was like 6 or 7. And being around Wrigley Field all the time now, the Cubs have great announcers. I see them walk around all the time. Nobody says shit to them.
Yeah.
They might say, hey, what's up? Or maybe ask for a picture, but for the most part, they come and go as they please. Harry Carey got mobbed in Chicago.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, same with Bob Uecker. I
Yeah,
feel
Bob
like
Uecker too, legendary.
yeah, I feel like the era of like celebrity announcers
Starting
is
to fade.
gone, right? Why do you think that is?
Because a lot of the really big ones will do a lot of national stuff.
Okay.
And naturally you start to get hated when you do national stuff.
Yeah.
Where Harry Carey was the voice of the Chicago Cubs, which was a super station. So people all over the country became Cubs fans through Harry Carey.
Right. Oh yeah. Right.
And because of that, he also did Budweiser commercials. Just the same way Bob Uecker would do a lot of commercials. Uecker was great in commercials.
Yeah.
Miller Lite ones.
Mr. Baseball.
And those were national commercials he did. So both of those guys, I think, are the end of an era.
Yeah.
Where it was like they're announcers, but they also sound like fans.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the lead announcer is too busy trying to sound like a national guy.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to just be the Pittsburgh Pirates announcer. He wants to be ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah.
So there's no connection there.
Do you
I think?
Yeah. Do you also think it's just because like the rise of people watching baseball more than listening to it?
Both, I guess. Well, because Harry
Right.
Carey would do a weird thing where he'd be on TV and radio.
Oh, really?
innings
I don't
one-
think Uecker did, right?
Uecker did some
not
TV
li-
stuff
not
here
in
or
the later
there.
years, but
You know,
yeah.
Uecker did I liked a lot. He would be on This Week in Baseball, which was like a weekly Saturday show before
Okay.
the game of the week. And everything's so analytical now. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of having a guy that's just being like, this guy's dogging it, talking like that, talking like a guy who drinks cheap beer at the end of the bar, there's people who are like, well, the analytics say that,
Yeah, yeah,
75% of the time he gets this pitch and he should have known that 42%. Like, it's getting very nerdy.
Yeah.
Where you don't want that out of an announcer.
That's why I kind of wish Brett Favre wasn't such a piece of shit.
Probably would be really good.
He's really funny. He's
Yeah.
also really funny, and he's just got that like kind of like Alabama, I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah, but
to
he's
him.
a piece of shit.
He's a big piece of shit.
Huge piece of shit.
Huge piece of shit.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Also, I'm friends
Still
with
Brett
the
Favre.
woman he did that stuff to.
Yeah. So the Kobe thing, I remember I was looking for a house. I was looking at an open house. I was at an open house looking for a place, and I'm with my girlfriend. Time we walk out, and then she just looks at her phone. She goes, "Oh my God, Kobe Bryant just died," and I was like, "What?" It's the first time where like I was speechless. Instead of being like, "Well, really?" I was just like, "Wait, what?" And then the circumstance too. I was like, "That's horrible." Like, that was the point where I was like, we were supposed to look at 2 other places, and I was like, I don't think I can go. I don't think I can go look at another place. I need to kind of like let this one sit. That's the first celebrity that's ever hit me like that.
Yeah.
Actually, the only celebrity that's really ever hit me like that. For some reason, it was just like the circumstance of it, and like, are you okay? Is it hitting you?
It is.
Yeah?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because I'm remembering someone else now too, but Kobe's hit me. Because I remember where I was. I got a text message. I was on this group chat I couldn't stand, where someone said Kobe died. I remember being like, Kobe, he's fucking like 40 years old.
Right.
Time when he just won an Oscar for something, he didn't die. And then they were like, holy shit. I'm like, what? And so
Yeah.
I turned the TV on. I was playing with my sons.
Mm.
And at the time, what year did Kobe die? Was it 2020 or
It was
2019?
It was February 2020, I think.
It was January 20. It was like
January.
January 30th. And I
2020.
remember because then like a month later, COVID was.
So my one son would have been about to turn 3, and my other son was like a baby, like crawling maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing with them when I'm like, they were little enough where they didn't care what was on TV. So I put the news on, and it was like breaking news, Kobe.
Yeah.
And then the idea that he died with his daughter also on the helicopter.
That was horrible.
So for a fact, horrible, so horrible. They probably died holding each other.
Yeah.
That part's like a little sweet, but still, man.
Yeah.
Imagine you because like she's a little girl who's freaking out, probably hoping, oh my God, hopefully this fixes.
He's
Something.
like rushing her to camp or something, right?
Yeah.
For
So
a game
at
or
one
something?
point when that helicopter was struggling and starting to, do that, he had the realization, we're gonna die,
Yeah.
and there's nothing I could do about it as a father to save her. So all I could do is hold her.
Yeah.
Where she's probably just too freaked out to even let that
Right.
process.
Yeah. And he's like, it's
So-
gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Like
Lying.
Yeah.
Because you can't be honest. You can't be like, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Like, no, you got to fucking last thoughts here. Not to get, even sadder about it. But yeah, so that's why the Kobe one. And he was the first like big pro athlete of our generation to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, yeah.
we've had retired players die. And there's been a few, but I mean like superstar.
Well, we saw his whole career.
Yes.
Right.
I remember he went to prom with fucking Brandy, who was a big pop singer at the
Right, I
time.
forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember? Like that's how we saw him from the age of 17
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Way more of his life was in the public eye than not.
Mm-hmm.
17 to 40. He was 41 when he died, or 41, I think. So yeah,
God,
I
he's
mean,
only 41. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude.
That's us right now.
I know.
Oh, that's scary.
Very scary.
Yeah.
That's why I don't ride helicopters anymore.
Oh, you stopped doing that?
Yeah.
But Blade's coming here.
Got really costly.
Yeah, I know.
Shit adds
It's
up.
okay. I think the hardest thing for the
When
Kobe.
someone farts on there, it's just hell.
I bet.
You're stuck.
I bet.
You were stuck.
Yeah, you were stuck. The hardest thing with the Kobe Bryant thing for me too was just like that song kept getting caught in my head. You know, like we're going down, down, and it's. I'm sorry.
I didn't know that song was about helicopter crash.
I wasn't happy about that either. It just kind of popped in my head because it was getting really
You sure
sad.
you didn't have a THC drink?
No, it was
'cause
just getting
there's a
really. It was
high
just getting really
five there.
sad, and then when something gets really sad, I have to say something off.
I
color.
know, me
Yeah.
too. All right, I'm gonna do my number one
We're going
first.
down, down.
I'm gonna do my number one first.
Do you think
Did
that was in his head when it was going down?
No,
You don't think so?
I think he was thinking, you know, I should have won a third one without Shaq. That was such a bullshit series against
Right.
Boston. And yeah, I don't know, but
I love my favorite thing about one of my favorite Kobe things is the, you know, when it's so incredible like how he could just get so zoned in and so competitive. The one where like Chris Rock of all people is like trying to talk to Kobe and he's just like stonewalling him, and then you could tell even Chris was just like, all right, like it was like he looked so like awkward, like all right, you didn't laugh at that, okay, like, and I was like, that dude's that's a Mamba right
I
there.
bet Kobe thought I'd like to slap that guy in the face.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the whole like also when the guy like did that with the ball to Kobe and he didn't even
He
flinch.
didn't flinch. That was one of the most badass things I've ever seen in professional sports.
I know. Like I
mean, there's been cooler stuff in hockey. Like hockey players are the toughest athletes and by far the most dedicated, I feel like. But Kobe was so dedicated and so like mentally with his approach. Obviously, he was physically gifted too, but he put in the work both with mind and body. To have anyone, it's human instinct to blink when someone does that to you.
Yeah. You blinked when I did that too, and I'm like 5 feet away.
It's
You
just
didn't
normal.
flinch, but you just blinked. Right.
It was like superhuman to have someone that close to you pretending to throw a basketball right in your face.
Yeah.
And you just stand there like chewing your gum, being like, let's go. Let's
Right.
go. That's what you got?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like you see like UFC fighters and boxers do like mental warfare. He would have been a phenomenal
Like stare down guy.
boxer, stare down guy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, dude, Tyson's one of the best of those ever from back in the day.
Incredible.
Did we talk about on the podcast like his one of his opening songs? You know, this one of the songs he would play when he would walk to the ring was just a one note.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
that now. We should do
Fucking
greatest
badass.
entrances.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your
I'm gonna do
one?
number one first because you did your last ones first. And we
Well, no, my
tied.
number one was we got our number one. So
Oh, Robin
yours-
Williams.
Yeah, yeah.
See, my number one, Chris Farley.
Oh yeah,
Chris Farley's death. He was the first celebrity.
Yeah,
He was in his prime. I watched him from SNL, and I watched him get bigger and bigger. And I remember seeing Tommy Boy opening day in the theater. Like, I was crushed when he died. And to find out he died in Chicago, and it was just like, man, this sucks because like, he was our guy.
yeah.
I one day will get some sort of Chris Farley tattoo.
Really?
I'd love to get like the Matt Foley thing
Yeah.
like that, so I could do a real cool animated one.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he was still to this day. Like
I'm gonna get
Adam
the Cabins East
Nice.
with him and Matthew Perry.
Oh, Wagons West.
Wait.
Wagons East. You said Cabins East.
Oh yeah, it's not Wagons West. Wagons West is a John Candy.
Oh, that was John Candy.
Yeah, look it up, Boston. Can you look it up, please?
Okay.
What was Chris Farley's last role?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Shrek because he did
I thought
like
it was
80% of the
Canadian
voice.
Bacon.
No.
Canadian Bacon was
That's
John
John
Candy.
Candy.
that's John Candy.
Wagons was Farley.
I think I could be wrong. I think you're right, but I think
Oh, I love that.
Wagons.
They could have done a movie together. John Candy's death hit me too. That was sad.
Yeah, it was. And then my family, their construction, they were gonna build his house. John Candy,
Oh,
right when he died.
wow.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Farley just his appearances on SNL. He was my favorite on SNL. He was my favorite movie star. Made me laugh so much. Kind of made me think, oh, maybe I'll do comedy one day.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the planting the seeds because I would do the impression.
Almost
So,
Heroes.
motivational speaker.
Yeah, it's Almost Heroes.
Almost Heroes.
Good
But
job.
his
Yes.
last official uncredited role, and he was uncredited for, was in Dirty Work.
I was gonna say that
Oh yeah, I remember that.
they're releasing Dirtier Work.
Oh, sequel.
The
finally.
R-rated version.
Oh, the R-rated version. I was gonna be like, how are they gonna do? Norm died. Norm's death sucked too. But
Oh,
my
yeah,
last
Norm,
one.
yeah.
There's so many, dude. That I started thinking as we went.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's, and I think I'm
Really?
bringing this one up because there's a good story behind it. I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson's music, and I would do Michael Jackson dance moves for fun. A good friend of mine taught me because he was great. This dude John Danks, great dancer, and I think what I have this now whenever I hear multiple. I remember driving around that day. You didn't hear a lot of Michael Jackson on the radio. I turned on
Why
my
was
car.
that?
And it wasn't because of what you think it was.
Yeah.
But, he had some weird thing with licensing stuff because you just didn't.
Dude, the Beatles thing is so funny.
Oh, him buying Paul McCartney, telling him you should invest in publishing because that's where the real money is in songwriting.
Yeah.
So he buys the whole Beatles catalog. He's like, you dick. I wasn't talking about my own.
That's
Yeah. So like, what a great friend. But no, the reason with Michael Jackson's was I got in my car, turned on the Michael Jackson songs on. I'm like, oh, I've never heard a Michael Jackson song in a while. And when the song ended, before it even fully ended, I switched to another station. Michael Jackson song was on. And a station that should not be playing Michael Jackson. I'm like, what is going on? And then I went to another one, Michael Jackson. And they're all different songs. I'm like, what? Oh, did he die?
Oh, wow.
So then I went to an AM station and they were talking about Michael Jackson's impact on everything and how he died. And I'm like, holy shit. So now when I get in my car, if I flip around the radio and I hear multiple songs by an artist, I'm like, they're dead.
Yeah.
Chappell Roan died. I cannot believe she's dead.
Yeah, you love Chappell
I
Roan.
don't. I know. That's going to hit me hard.
You know what didn't
Although
hit
she
me
doesn't
hard?
like dudes at all. She had a thing where it's like, my music is for dudes. Fuck dudes. Dudes suck. And I'm just like,
Even though we all love it.
it's for me.
Yeah.
It's for us.
You know
Put us
what's-
together,
You know
Chappell.
what didn't hit me at all, surprisingly? Prince.
Prince didn't hit me either.
No, Prince died, and I was just like, all right. And we have friends that like,
Tom Petty hit me. Because you know why? Because I could have gone to see him in concert and I didn't go. And everyone was like, it's the greatest concert. And now I'm like, fuck, now I can't go.
Yeah.
One of those situations.
Like Prince died, and like we have friends. Ed Towns, who was on the podcast. I mean, he was like down and out for a while, and I heard Prince died, and I was like, all right. I was like,
I didn't know a lot of Prince. Dude, I couldn't name 10 Prince songs right now.
Yeah.
I named like
think I could.
6. The
a
Little
lot,
Red
though.
Corvette.
Yeah.
Or like it's 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Purple Rain.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I got. Oh, no. No, I mean, yeah.
7.
Well, how does 7 go?
All 7, and then watch them fall.
Oh.
Dun, dun,
I know he
dun,
wrote
dun, dun.
Nothing Compares to You.
What about Bad Dance?
I don't know Bad Dance. Oh,
When
Bat
Doves-
Dance.
Bat Dance.
Oh, I know the
Doves Cry.
songs.
And When
too.
Doves Cry.
Oh, I know that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, that one's,
Party Man from Batman 1989.
I Will Die for You.
I know all the Batman soundtrack. Yeah.
I will. So you know more than you think.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
But it
What's
was a
that
struggle.
sensual one he made for Batman that they cut? You remember that one? There's a really sexy song he made for Batman. They cut. it.
I don't know.
God damn. What is
Did DMX fuck you up?
A lot of times with musicians, I was bummed for a little bit. The guy from Linkin Park was so sad. Chris Cornell was
that was
sad.
sad.
Scott Weiland. I mean, they're all sad, but it's like I just got so used to like, yeah, these people die at this age.
Yeah.
They just don't live long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you make the art at that level. It either screws with your head to the point where you go to drugs
Mm-hmm.
or depression and you either overdose or kill yourself.
Yeah.
And it sucks when it happens. But I don't know. It's because I think I know why now. A little psychology on myself I just did. I remember hearing about Kurt Cobain, but not knowing who he was. And my best friend introduced me to Nirvana like almost 2 years after his death.
Interesting. I didn't know
So
that. Okay.
I got into Nirvana after Nirvana was done.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I was always like, so then I went through that being like, oh, fuck, man, I love this band. How'd he
Yeah.
die? Killed
Yeah.
himself? What the fuck? And so I
Yeah.
just got so into that just prepared me to be whatever with musician deaths, I should say, after.
Okay. Yeah. Set
You
you
know,
up.
little
Prepared
psychology
you.
there. It did. It prepared me
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Jonah?
Final thoughts. That's a great way to put that.
It is, right?
Well, final thoughts because we're talking about death.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've done.
Jerry Springer's done.
4 eulogies in the last 3 years. No, 7 years. What? How many eulogies have you done?
Just one. Just my
Just
dad's.
one?
Yeah.
How'd you open that thing up? If you don't mind me asking.
I think I stole from you where I said I'd like to thank my openers.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
'Cause my sister did, well, we both did a eulogy.
There's a little bit of pressure
then-
being funny, right?
And then the priest, I kind of was like, yeah, there is some. But
Uh-huh.
my dad was so funny. I just quoted him and it got big laughs.
Yeah.
And then you want to have a through line, you know?
Yeah.
Because I knew my sister would do like about his life, do kind of like biography style. Because some eulogies are biography style. I think the best ones, it's like biography where it's like they were born and raised here, they grew up this way, and they always had this, and like, you know, and what kind of tell people what shaped their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the Let It Ride, that was my grandfather's motto in life, and we all loved him for it. And he was always, you know, all these great things about your grandfather. But you tell funny stories, but you're also explaining like what made them them.
Right.
You know,
Like why that story is that. Yeah.
yeah. My uncle Pat did a great job with my grandma today, just talking about like devotion to her family,
Yeah.
devotion to this, and then like and telling her life story. You know, like I didn't realize how sick she got after having my aunt.
Yeah.
Where she was like in a hospital for like a year, basically.
Right.
You know? So I mean, I knew she was sick, but I didn't know the extent of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, give us some new information. You know.
Yeah.
We're basically doing a class on eulogies right now.
I know. I did. Yeah. I think that's
And best
important.
man speeches. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think it's also like if you just kind of rib them a little bit too. Like I think everyone's talking about my mom's,
yeah.
my mom's cookies, and I was like, you guys are all talking about your mom's cookies. I was like, what are you talking about? Like they were not good. Like I think you're being nice to her because she's dead. I didn't say
that's
that last
funny.
part.
Yeah.
And then I said something about like how like my grandpa was always like, I love helping her like haul rubbish, you know. And I was like, rubbish? I thought you guys some of the houses you guys are building. And I kind of ribbed my family a little bit. It's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
rubbish.
Yeah, I can't remember what I got laughs on, but I remember getting some big laughs. It'll probably come to me later on. But I just remember, I just kind of talked about how cool he was. I just thought my dad was really cool. So, I shared some stories and some funny stuff I heard from his brothers. And I think I told this on the podcast about how he quit smoking because they raised cigarettes to 50 cents a pack.
Yeah.
Which is like very my dad.
You had to have like a
he didn't
through line
suffer
too, right?
I did. Like my thing was about like his love for his children and stuff like that, because when I had a lot of babysitters growing up, my parents are divorced. And so whenever I would be late coming back for dinner, because back then you could roam the streets as a child. So I'd come back and the babysitter was like, "You are 5 minutes late." I'm like, "So what's the big deal?" I'm like, "You have me worried sick." And I'm like, "It's 5 minutes." They're like, "Do you understand? If anything happened to you, your father would kill me."
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, you think like that's just something people say. But I had so many different babysitters say that to the point where I'm like, I think he's actually saying this to them.
Yeah.
I think he's literally saying, "All right, cool. Here's the instructions. Food, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. And by the way, if anything happens to my kids, I will kill you."
Yeah,
So I just kind of used that, and that got a big reaction.
Fun.
People love that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I talked about how we weren't really sentimental. He said we leave the mushy stuff to the Italians, and people got a big laugh out of that. Especially the Italians that were there.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, this makes sense to a lot of things you said in the past.
By the way, I hate the Italians.
Oh yeah.
Nothing to do with him.
Joe,
We just lined up perfectly together.
You can hate the town. You can hate like their food though. It's so good.
That's
the worst
I
take.
like
That's the worst take you've ever had.
I like Italian food. I do think it's
Worst
overrated
take.
though.
Worst take.
No, I look, pizza, amazing. Might be the best food ever.
Italian.
Italian sub, great. Italian beef, although not native to Italy,
Right.
discovered by a Chicagoan who I don't think was Italian, but he used Italian spices on roast beef. So I will give Italy credit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, what's your favorite Italian? He goes, that Pulaski's. That's the best Italian.
so good. Yeah, I don't. What else they got? Chicken Vesuvio, it's a great dish. Italian ice, I like a lot. Tiramisu is good. Cannolis are all right.
I think you got one thing right so far.
I said pizza. What do you mean?
Pizza's not really an Italian thing.
Okay, what are you talking about? Like spaghetti? It's too much pastas. It's heavy. It's not a good summer food. Have it in the winter. I like a good pasta.
I agree on that one.
Minestrone soup. That's Italian. Good bowl of minestrone.
Mm-hmm.
Delish.
Someone said you'd rather have a haggis.
That's
Scottish.
Scottish.
What is Irish?
We've got a lot of just meats and potatoes and stuff like
Okay,
that. Shepherd's
okay.
pie and
Yeah,
stuff like that. You could argue that's like the whole.
We all
region.
agree that English have the worst food.
Their food's pretty bad, but 4 of the top 10 restaurants in the world are in London.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not serving English food.
I bet you that. Yeah,
No.
they're not.
That was a great gag. John Taffer and some English guy. The English guy made fun of Americans for drinking. And then he said, "Oh, well, we've got way better food than you guys have." And then the guy said, "Hey, 4 of the top 10 Michelin-rated restaurants in the world are in London." And then John Taffer said, "Yeah, but what are they serving?" He goes, "French."
Yeah.
He owned up, and they both laughed about
Yeah.
that. Shut it down. Well, because these climates are rainy, and when it's rainy, you just want some meat and potatoes, and go have some more pints, and
Right.
and they have some fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was in a southern, warmer climate, yeah, you'd probably mess around with some cheeses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. What's your
Yeah.
favorite Italian dish?
Lemon pasta. Like a good lemon pasta.
Lemon chicken pasta.
No, like lemon pasta.
You just want lemon.
Dude,
on your
most
pasta.
Italian pastas don't have protein in it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just carbon up.
Mm-hmm. Pretty fucking good. But I'm telling you, but if you eat there, because this doesn't have all the bullshit that's in it, like all the food here, it is just like, goddamn, it's good.
Isn't all the bullshit what makes our food taste so good though?
In some
You
cases,
just feel bad afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
But some, I mean, of course, but those are the stuff that's like will give you cancer.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
You're a food conspiracy theorist now, are you?
I'm not.
Next
Yeah.
week's episode.
I just think
All about nutrition.
RFK knows what he's talking about. That's all. He's that dude. Said,
listen, let's get down. No, that's a bad.
he did the voice for Nosferatu, right?
Oh man,
Didn't
poor Cheryl Hines. Imagine that guy grunting into you. Ugh.
he?
He really does sound like he's got a voice thing.
I know.
Yeah, I was just double checking my list to see if I had any honorable mentions. There was another one I thought
Yeah.
about, but I blanked on it. Anyway, that was a good one. Everyone listening, message us yours. Let us know what celebrities we missed.
Yeah.
Throw it our way and tell us what we could do right with it next time. All right. Thank you for, by the way, anything you want to plug?
No.
No. No, I will be at CG's Comedy Club in Bolingbrook, June 14th or 13th and 14th. And I'm headlining, and you're featuring the Comedy Bar on June 28th. So if
Yeah.
you're in Chicago, come out
Come
to
hang out with
that.
us.
2 shows on Saturday, June 28th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. Other than that, yeah, I'm just around the Chicagoland area for the next most of the summer.
Nice.
All right. Thank you for listening. Let's get dumb.
Bye-bye.
For Austin and Jonah, I'm Joe. Cheers.
Bye.